All right. Captain America, Civil War. If you haven't seen it, you've been living under a rock for the last, 6 months?
6 months? No, like 2 months.
2 months?
Yeah, I was gonna say, has it been? Yeah. For me, it feels like
July. That movie came out in May.
Yeah. So, okay, 3
Like
months.
end
Let's
of
split
May.
The difference is 3 months.
Okay. It's directed by the Russo brothers. This would be the second Captain America that they have filmed. The first one was by... Doesn't even matter.
No, I think his name is, Johnson.
Yeah, I don't know. That first Captain America, I thought it was just a big pile of patookie.
I disagree wholeheartedly. I think it was a great movie. I think it did a good job at setting up. And it did. And I have good reasons for it too, but we are not here to talk about that movie.
But, okay, before we go back into Civil War, I do want to say that what I did like about the first one was that cool little, get them all skinny using some CGI effect. It wasn't just
They used the
pick
body
the skinny guy that looked just like him.
They used the body double and CGI.
Yeah. But Chris Evans doing the skinny Chris Evans, and then the next scene you see him as super buff steroid taking Chris Evans,
Right.
which was awesome. But everything else,
Sorry.
No, okay, I am going to talk about this in just a little bit. Because I can't just sit idly. It is not a perfect movie. I will give it that. It does have some weird setups, and the whole idea of just having the Howling Commandos be just a giant montage just to get
That's the issue I had in that movie.
That is the biggest problem with that movie, is because it doesn't do anything to show you the ability of Captain America was so good. It just montaged that as soon as he got the super soldier serum and as soon as they realized that he was more than capable of taking care of business, they just montaged it. And so there is a little bit of a problem with that. But the biggest thing that you have to take in from the first Avenger, that movie that came out, is that they established who Steve Rogers was, who his character is, how altruistic he is, what his value system is, and how he goes and takes care of business. Is that he doesn't like bullies. He doesn't want to fight. He does not want to be in the battle, always doing these things. But he's like in Civil War, and when he sees something turning south, he can't just sit idly by. He has to go in that. And they established that perfectly from that movie. And without that movie, Avengers wouldn't have made much sense. Civil War doesn't really feel like it's a movie that's even apropos. It served its purpose as a good setup movie. And those movies, for all intents and purposes, were setup movies for an Avenger movie. So it did what it needed to do, and we have these movies now because of that movie.
And I like how the universe is building upon itself, the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Like, say, we had Age of Ultron come out, and then we had Civil War come out. And they even included a lot of elements from Age of Ultron, history, events, and everything. They didn't wipe it off and ignore it because it was in a different movie per se and already talked about. They still talked about it here, which I am glad that they mentioned rather than completely ignore, which is what some movies have done in the past, is they just ignore another movie even though it happened, but they accept that it happened,
Right.
They at least talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, if we can go back and redo the first Avenger, those would be the big things, and everyone's going to have that. Even with Civil War, there's things that I wish that they would have done with this movie, but that's just fan service. We have to kind of take it for the product that we've got, and the thing that they really did set up well is just that good story arc and that character development. You understand how Steve Rogers works and what his decision making and where his point of view comes in, and you get that all just because of what they did in the first Avenger. So that's my 2 cents with it, and I do like that even with the future movies, they don't disregard those plot points, and that's the best part about the MCU, is that unless you're Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh yeah, you died. Sorry, you're back.
They acknowledge that.
I thought you were dead. Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah. Let's all agree that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the redheaded stepchild. They don't even want to acknowledge it in the comics.
Although there is one funny episode, and it was in the most recent season, I believe, of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And spoiler alert for those that have not watched the most recent episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's a spoiler even if you do watch it. That show is just a big hot pile of poop.
But no, in the episode, he's talking to this warlord or something. I can't remember the agent's name. Coulson. Sorry, Coulson is his name.
Is he the warlord?
Coulson is talking to this evil warlord, and the warlord goes to punch him or something and realizes that he's a hologram. And
Oh, I know who you're. Okay, I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah,
It's
so
not really a warlord. It's Hive, by the way.
or Hive. Sorry. I just happened to come in during that 10 seconds for this episode.
To be more apropos, it's the Ward Lord. Agent Ward Lord.
Like Agent Ward Lord.
Well, that's what his name is, Agent Ward, and then he dies, and then this parasite gets infected with him. It's called Hive, and he's an Inhuman, and so he looks just like Agent Ward, but it's not Agent Ward. But yeah,
Yeah, he's like this. Anyway,
awful.
he's evil, and so he realizes that Agent Coulson's a hologram, and he goes, "Yeah, I got this idea from a buddy," but he goes, "I've always wanted to do this. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope."
that's they do that really cool.
was like,
And I
that-
just said doo on camera.
That was the funniest moment I've seen in that show, and that's probably the only 10 seconds of the show I've watched.
Okay,
Like-
so you
thoroughly.
Oh, okay. So I did watch all of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I've got the first season on Blu-ray, and
we will get to this movie.
I haven't been able to sit down and like actually watch it because I'm just like,
It's not worth it. Season 1 was really good, and then when Marvel just decided that they're gonna clip Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. by the knees and kind of like just totally take them out of the MCU, but still be in the MCU, and there's earmarks for that one.
we're in the MCU, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like when the whole Inhumans way that they went with the show, and just it's hard to believe that these guys are even super spies at all. Like S.H.I.E.L.D. is supposed to be the super elite secret organization, and then like when they get rid of it after Winter Soldier, the show just had no grounding at all. Like they had this great idea, and Joss Whedon and whoever else was writing the things were like, you know what, we're just not gonna have S.H.I.E.L.D. be a part of the future of the MCU. And so now they're just like on ABC, writing seasons, trying to be relevant in some way. It's just
okay.
it really is.
Yeah. So Civil War picks up
Rock Rumloaf.
what, several years after Age of Ultron?
No, it takes place within a year.
Within a
after.
year, okay.
It's not a very big gap between Avengers: Age of Ultron and where Captain America: Civil War actually picks up.
Yeah.
There's not much time because people are still recovering from Sokovia falling.
Yeah. So they have an expat, ex-Hydra person that's only been getting a year of Avenger training, and they send her on a secret mission. Great job, Steve.
A year, that's 8 months more than you need.
That's right. Well, I'm in nursing school, and how would you like to have a nurse that's only got 1 year of school underneath their belt? Work on you. So there you go. Yeah, like this girl has no capabilities at all. I mean, she's being chaperoned by Natasha Romanoff and Steve Rogers. So there's a lot of people around here, but like as you watch this movie unfold, you realize that this lady's got like ungodly amounts of power, and there's nothing that Steve Rogers and Natasha Romanoff are going to be able to do to stop her if she goes nuts.
Yeah,
and that sort of happens in this movie, and there's some consequences that run with that. It's good to know that she still has a conscience with the things, but there was that feeling that she was ill prepared, and if they'd have sent maybe like Vision in for these things, they may have had things more contained.
I mean, even though Vision is technically younger and has technically less experience, he knows more. And
Technically invincible, right? Well, you throw him in that scene, there is no scene after that.
The only problem is that
Yeah, he's all, "Pew!" Everybody's done.
Yeah.
We can move on.
I know. If you're doing spoiler alerts, the how it should have ended of the Civil War, they do bring that up a little bit. They're trying to tell a movie with plot points, of course, so you have to have conflict. You have to have problems to come in. It'd be very easy to take in like your god powers. That's why Thor's not in this movie. It's why Vision wasn't in Lagos for this thing.
Yeah.
It's because you have to develop a reason for the plot to move forward, and that's the reason why you don't have Vision just go over like, well, we can just find Crossbones because I can just like tap into the computers and oh, he's there. Let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then there goes your movie, right?
Pretty much. The movie's done and over like in 10 minutes. It's like, well, we found Crossbones. There's no reason to have a Sokovia Accords because nothing bad happened. We all went to the Avengers Tower and just high-fived and drank wine and tried to pick up Thor's hammer.
So now there's a big old fight happening. You got Captain America, you got Scarlet Witch, you got Romanoff, and they're all in Falcon. They are all chasing after Crossbones. And then we get to a scene where Crossbones is doing it's the boss fight, right?
Yeah.
Between Captain America
Yep.
and Crossbones, I believe, whoops out some dynamite.
He had
a
a
bomb
suicide.
on him,
He had a
right?
suicide bomb on him.
He was going to kamikaze it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was part of his plan right at the get-go, but he is just, I mean, he's done a lot of spec op missions with Captain America, so he knows how he works, and he knows that wherever they go, he's being hunted down. So I think having a suicide bomb on him
so
is
he's
just like,
just
this is
prepared.
this is plan B. If I get face-to-face with Steve Rogers, I'm going to take out the heart of their team. And it was a smart plan, honestly.
I mean, he went and said, okay, I'm probably going to get caught. I'm going to do everything in my power not to. But if I do get caught, I've got backup. You know, I've got something I can take him out and make sure that whoever comes after me is going to, have a fighting chance.
And it's typical Hydra thing. Like when he runs into that first Hydra guy that killed the professor from the first movie, he had like a little cyanide tooth pill that he pulled out and just like cut one head off and did the other. It's the mantra of Hydra. So it's not like this is like he just killed himself because for the sake of doing it. It's the Hydra mentality. You always have a backup plan so that they don't get the rest of your plans. The problem was though.
Yeah, so that they either can't take you or you take them.
Yeah, so he's taking a biological weapon for what and for who? Is it just for him? Is he going to do his own weird terrorist organizations, or is he working for somebody else? They didn't explain that because he got blowed up.
Yeah, it's like blown up. End of story. Whoever was the mastermind.
We got to progress this plot, and we got to get Black Panther in here somehow. So we're moving forward, moving on.
So with Crossbones, before blowing up, Scarlet Witch does her Scarlet Witch hoopla, right? Throws him against the building. Tries to throw him up in space to get him away, but blows up before. Is that what happened? I'm trying to think that's what it was.
She just got him off the ground. She throws him up in the air, has a little force field around him, throws him up, and then he blows up midair.
Blows up in midair and takes out a bunch of innocent civilians.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 floors, I want to say.
Which is a big no-no because, you got the Avengers, which is supposed to be some kick-ass, ruthless...
protecting
organization. Yeah, exactly. And now you got this scene where you just took out a bunch of innocent civilians, which is probably not as many deaths as it was from the Age of Ultron. I believe... the fight scene between, Iron Man's big old Hulk suit with the Hulk Smasher.
The Hulk Buster.
Yeah.
The Hulk Buster.
Yeah, the Hulk Buster, and you got the Hulk, and I believe there was a lot of innocent lives lost in that one too.
Oh yeah, there was quite a bit. Multiple casualties, and they didn't even touch on that one. They're like the Sokovia Accords. I'm like, are we just leaving South Africa just off the story? But that's typical General Ross or Secretary Ross. It's like anything that's Hulk related, he doesn't bring up at all because if we're gonna bring that up, we have to bring up Harlem, which he didn't bring up in the Sokovia Accords because he is primarily responsible for that. That guy should be locked up in that weird floaty prison.
I do think
You mean like the weird floaty Magneto prison? Like one of those?
Yeah, throw him in a weird plastic box in the bottom of the Pentagon.
There is one thing that I laugh at, and it's that they're like, well, where's Hulk and where's Thor? I'm like, really? You want to know where Thor is? He's probably home on
he's
his
in Asgard,
planet.
because he's the Prince of Asgard.
Yeah.
What they should have known is like,
thing.
where's Hulk? Where's Thor? And then somebody should have whispered, "There's too many characters in this movie. We can't. We can't."
We can't. We don't have enough screen time for them. I'm sorry.
Can't talk about those people. They're not in the movie.